Welcome to You Can Do It. Today we're going to be taking the engine out of a Vespa ET4. So let's get straight to the point. The way I'm going to do it is basically from the top down. First things first, let's just disconnect the battery, so then that we know we've got we'll have no problems with anything shorting or anything. Alright, so let's just take the positive off. We're not taking the battery out, we're just going to take the positive off like that. Put that screw back in because there's a little tab underneath there that will disappear, and we'll just do the earth to be extra specially. I don't always do this, it's just because I'm doing it for showing you guys. I want to show you the professional way. So now that, and if you want to be extra special, be careful, put a bit of tape over the top of that. Alright, okay, let's move on. Lift it up, excuse the tools in there, take this one out. So now what we're going to do down here, as you can see, we just need to undo all the cables to the engine. So what we'll start off with is this one here on the little ECU. So that just pulls out like that, and then it goes under here, and it's got a little thing there, look. So that one's off. So what we'll do is we'll just cut that cable tie there with a pair of pliers. So the choke cable's loose. So now to give us a bit more space, we'll take off the fuel line here. Yeah. Oh no, you shouldn't. It's not. There we are. So your fuel line's off. The choke's off. Now you're going to have to undo here. You've got an earth strap here. Oh, there's an earth strap. This one, an earth strap. This one here. So they look like 10mm nuts. One's a 13, one's a 10. So we'll undo those and we'll take those two earth straps off. Okay, they're off there. Be careful when you do this one here, because I dropped the bolt down there with the nuts. So I'm going to have to get that out later. Now what we can do is we can take off this here, which goes to the fuel tap, which is a vacuum. So we need to take that off there. Someone's zip tied that, so I'm going to have to cut through that and pull that one off. Alright, the clip's gone, so now I can just pull that off. Okay, so everything's off here now, apart from we've got here the starter motor cable. So what I'm going to have to do there is we can now take off the throttle linkage. Alright, so let me take that off. So the way we'll do that, okay, so basically loosen that nut there, look, and then that whole thing comes down and it will come out. Right, so there, look, you pull it down and out that slot there, which then means you can just take that around like that and take the little thing off. So the fuel cable's off, the throttle cable's off now. We'll just tuck that up there, keep that up there, keep it nice and neat. Alright, so now we just need to get to the starter. What else? Oh yeah, we need to take this off here. See, this is if you can see there, this is a zip tie around there, but that holds the rubber. I'll pull that off there. So I pulled that rubber off there, so that's clear. You need to just undo this one here. Let me take this out of here. I need two hands. Let me take that out. Someone's sort of cable tied those together, so I'm going to cut those and I can separate those two halves. So that literally just pulls out like there, which is why the cable tied it together so it didn't come loose. So that comes out of there. So the only thing left that's connecting is the starter motor. Next thing is we take that, there was another zip tie around there, so I've just cut that. So we just need to take this off. I'm only taking this off so we can get down to the starter motor bolt. So you need a screwdriver in there just to lever that off. Okay, so I've spun that up there. I've just taken this rubber off of here. Yeah. So I can now undo these two if I want and actually take the starter motor out, which might be easier. Now you could take all this side thing off from the other side, but I'm trying to do it all from the top, just the main bolts at the bottom. Okay, so I've undone those two bolts there, and there's two bolts there, both 8mm, and then that means you can take this cap off, and then the starter motor will come right out. So let me take that starter motor out. Okay, starter motor's out there. Make sure you don't lose those two bits there, which were washers that sort of went on top of there. Oh, so I was just trying to chuck one down there, so that's gone. Find that when I take the engine out. Okay, so you've got that off. So that means we've got the starter motor off complete. I didn't even need to disconnect the cable. Okay. So put all these cables up out of the way, just so they're not, they're not likely to get caught. So everything's out of the way now. Now I've just put that back onto there, just so that nothing can get down the car inlet. So you've just basically got these two cables here which connect to the engine that are coming off with the engine. Right, So now what we can start doing is looking to go underneath. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually turn the scooter around so that I can get to this side, because I've got a wall here at the moment. We've moved the scooter around. As I say, we're going to do a top-down approach. So the next thing to do is just undo this little Phillips screw there, take this up, and we must remember to disconnect the spark plug. Now I've already done that, but the spark plug is in the side there, so make sure that you disconnect the spark plug here and take that out. Otherwise you'll be trying to take the engine out and wondering why it's not coming out, and it's because it's still connected with the spark plug. We need to now take this off, so if you just lift that up there, look, you've got a little Phillips head screw there, so undo that Phillips head screw there, and then this panel just comes off here. You just got to pull it because it's got 3 rubber grommets in there, and you just pull that panel right off. Okay, that's off there, that's fine now. So now what we need to do is get the rear brake cable off. So we need to undo this, spray some WD-40 if it's all corroded, but we need to undo that bolt there so we can take the cable out. So I'll do that. Right, that's off there. You have to get it through that little thing there. You've got 2 choices. You can undo that from the other side, or you can just take that back one off. But these are, just to warn you, these are a pain in the arse to get off because you need a long socket for that, and these are quite often corroded. So make sure you soak that the day before. This is where it mounts to this sort of swing arm bit here. So you can either take it off here, or you can either try and undo it there and take the whole swing off. We're going to just try and undo it here and take this off. Now there's one last thing that's left, and that's that spring. There's a spring there, you can see. Now you need to take that spring off because that spring connects to the bodywork. Now that's a bit of a bitch, so you need a big pair of pliers, which is why I've got these, and I'll pull that off. Alright, that spring's come off there, so I'll put that at the top. So now we've just got those bolts. Last but not least, before we do those bolts, we just need to undo this. This is your shocker connector, and because obviously this is connected to your shock absorber, which is connected to your up the top here. So we need to undo this here. So you need 17mm on that side and a 13mm on this side. Right, but that's loose now, so we can just undo this and take this off. Right, leave that in for the moment like that, otherwise the whole thing will collapse. The bike will collapse off there if you take that shocker off yet. So wait till we're actually about to lift the frame off of the engine. Okay, let's go back to those main bolts at the front. Okay, the bolt's out, everything's off there. So what I've actually done is I've put a piece of rope around the back of that, and I've actually put it up to a tie, and I've pulled that up. So I've basically pulled the back of the bike up. Yeah, so you can see there's plenty of space there. So now it's just hanging, and we just need to undo this bolt here on both sides, undo that bolt there, and then we can pull the engine right out. Right, look, that bolt there won't come out unless you take this plate off. Now I've just, because these can be quite hard to do, I've just undone the top one, and I've just actually bent that plate up, and now I can push that bolt all the way out. As you use a bar to tap that bolt through, so that when the bolt comes out the other side, the whole engine doesn't drop down. So now it's all supporting on that one there, and I can actually in a controlled manner pull that out, and then the engine will drop. So I need 2 hands to do that, so let me do that. Alright, that's done. Look, the engine's just out completely, it's not touching, and that's just hanging there. So what I'm going to do now is just move the bike across there so it's not in the way. I can take that engine now into my workshop, and I can find out what the problem is, because it's got no compression. But that's all nicely done there. So that is how to take the engine out of an ET4. Very simple, doesn't take long, doesn't take more than about an hour, not even an hour, half an hour if you know what you're doing. Don't need any special tools. I think you need a 17mm spanners and sockets, 8mm, 10mm, and a Phillips head screwdriver. Hope this has helped. If you like the channel, please subscribe, send me a comment, give me a thumbs up. You can do it.